Hi, this is Big Papa Grump from the Board of Doom, and I'm going to be recapping the Monday, May 1st edition of Monday Night Raw and the Tuesday, May 2nd edition of SmackDown Live. So because I'm going to be doing two shows at once, I'm going to be kind of firing through these a little quicker than usual. So Raw started out with the coronation of Alexa Bliss. Basically, my takeaway from that is Alexa Bliss is awesome as a heel, and Bayley is much better as the underdog, kind of chasing after. So that way, when she does win, it's a much bigger moment. Giving her long reigns with the title at this stage is probably not best for her character. Then you had an 8-woman tag match between the team of Alexa Bliss, Alicia Fox, Nia Jax, and Emma versus Sasha Banks, Bayley, Mickie James, and Dana Brooke. Solid match. Nice kind of heelish, dastardly kind of stuff going on there. So the action wasn't bad, but the thing that struck out to me is that they had just gotten done, Corey Graves, that they had just gotten done saying something about, like, why are you saying that Alexa Bliss is cheating, in reference to the night before, and then she raked Bayley's eyes and then scored a pin, cheating. That was funny. Then you had another one of Raw's let's have two members of a tag team wrestle in singles matches. Luke Gallows beat Enzo Amore. Yay. And he had Seth Rollins come out cutting a promo. He called out Brock Lesnar, saying he wants the Beast. Then Finn Balor came out and said, get in line. And then The Miz came out and was The Miz. And then Dean Ambrose came out. And actually, this is some of the funnier bits that Dean Ambrose has done in a while. The fact that he was setting up a match was kind of neat. The bit where he was calling Kurt Angle kind of took too long, but the payoff with him talking about how Kurt Angle was mad he had his number was kind of funny. Having Dean Ambrose come out and basically insinuate that the title that should be getting the attention is the one that's being shown on TV every week, as opposed to the guy who took the title and went on vacation, was kind of neat. Nice little dig at Lesnar and all that. And they kind of addressed the elephant in the room, which is the fact that Brock Lesnar never, when he's champion, never defends it except like twice a year. So him, the comedy bits were kind of funny with him calling Kurt Angle and all that. It was neat that you didn't have like guys arguing and then out comes the GM, because while that's usually the way they settle things, going for a little bit of a change of pace there was kind of neat. Other than that, it set up a number one contenders triple threat match at the end of the night for the Intercontinental Championship. So they're trying to push the IC title as the championship of value, but you're either going to undermine the Universal Championship, which is already being undermined by a part-time champion, or you're going to come across as you're trying really hard to try to make the Intercontinental Championship look relevant. So they got to be really careful. Yeah, 6-man cruiserweight tag match between Jack Gallagher, Rich Swann, and Tozawa versus Kendrick, Noam Dar, and Tony Nese. The action was solid. The faces won. You're kind of keeping Gallagher up, and you're kind of underselling Kendrick a little bit. But in these tag matches, really nobody gets hurt too badly, other than the fans who only get to see like a 5-minute cruiserweight match. You had Sheamus and Cesaro come out and cut a promo now that they've just turned heel. Basically, the main gist of it was, why are you guys, pulling for a novelty act like the Hardys when we've been here the whole time and, putting in the work and all that. And it kind of went to the idea that both Sheamus and Cesaro are underappreciated on Raw or in the WWE in general. And that's something that's kind of been a drum that Cesaro's been beating on for a long time. So it was kind of neat. It's the most relevant, I think, that either Sheamus and Cesaro have been since they formed the tag team. Then, they kind of lost a little bit of steam, and now, with the kind of fresh start as heels, hopefully they'll be able to do something with it. And then Apollo Crews beat Heath Slater. And Kurt Angle came out, was talking about the injuries suffered by both Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman at each other's hands, and then Bray Wyatt came out and cut an interesting promo, that whole, I'm not here to do you harm yet, and let me introduce myself kind of thing. It seemed a little hollow coming off such a crap win in the House of Horrors match, because the win did not make Bray Wyatt look strong. It's a win, so when you look back at it on paper, Bray Wyatt wins the match. But, with Jinder Mahal coming out and all that, they kind of just ignored that, and you expected they would. but hopefully what happened later in the night is probably what's going to push Bray forward. Then after a backstage segment where Neville basically told T.J. Perkins that he needs to start carrying his weight in this little arrangement of theirs, he then turned around and lost to Austin Aries. The fact that part of me is mad that they keep having TJP lose, because since he turned heel, he hasn't looked strong as a heel. It hasn't looked like, a new lease on life, now he's dangerous. But at the same time, the fact that after the match he just destroyed Austin Aries' knee was neat. It kind of built to the sinister, sore loser, angry version of TJP, but you can't keep him losing all the time. Now, at the same time, you don't want Austin Aries taking a loss necessarily because he's in the title hunt, but you could have him lose due to shenanigans and it doesn't really hurt him. So they kind of wrote themselves into a corner. Somebody had to win, and that pretty much had to be Aries, but it was at the expense of TJP, who was trying to bring himself up. Then you had probably one of the best main events on Raw I've seen in a while. Probably unbiased because I liked everybody who ended up being involved in it. So you had the number one contender for the Intercontinental Championship between The Miz, Finn Balor, and Seth Rollins. I was hoping against hope that it was going to be Finn Balor that won, just because he's probably my favorite of the three guys that was involved. Once Samoa Joe came out and took out Rollins, I'm like, okay, if we're running interference in these matches, Bray's got to be coming out. So I had a feeling it was going to be The Miz, and that's what happened. Bray came out, delivered the Sister Abigail to Finn Balor after Samoa Joe had taken out Seth Rollins, and The Miz got the cheap pin on Finn Balor. So it progresses the Samoa Joe Seth Rollins story and the whole Samoa Joe, you got one win on me, I'm not done with you yet angle. So that was kind of neat. You brought Bray out against Finn, so you're now starting that feud. I mean, he interrupted him a couple weeks ago, but that was, that's just a thing. But now they've been hands-on. So, and plus you get the Miz heat because he is going to sell the heck out of his win next week. So now you're setting up Dean Ambrose versus the Miz again, which we've seen a billion times. Hopefully they'll be able to capitalize on the opportunity and not give us the same old we've been seeing. Because while in the past Dean Ambrose has looked relatively uninspired, especially against Baron Corbin for whatever reason, hopefully the move to Raw and the fact that the focus is on the IC title might help kind of invigorate him, and hopefully they'll take the belt off him, because I think, like a lot of faces, he's better chasing the title. SmackDown opened up with Shane McMahon introducing Chris Jericho, the new United States Champion. Mentioned that he was going to be wrestling Kevin Owens later that night, and Kevin was getting his rematch, and then AJ Styles came out, who's the number one contender to the United States Championship now. So it kind of added a little bit. It was more a bit about setting up the future Kevin Owens, AJ Styles bit, because Kevin Owens came out and AJ went up and started beating on him after Owens shot a little bit of a promo. You had a feeling, I even tweeted it out before, that I figured since Jericho won on Sunday, he was going to lose the title back to Owens on Tuesday. They just threw you a swerve at the pay-per-view. So now they're kind of pushing the Styles-Owens feud forward. So it was a neat segment. I mean, they're all good on the mic. Then after a bit where Jinder Mahal was seen taking photos with the title and all that, like he had just wanted like the promotional photos, Shane McMahon came and took the belt back. I suppose to mail it to Randy Orton wherever he's at. And Jinder Mahal was scheduled to wrestle Sami Zayn. Poor Sami. It was a decent match. I mean, there were a couple of missed spots in it, but Jinder Mahal's getting his legs under him again, because it's been a while since he's had meaningful matches. I don't think they're going to give the title to Mahal yet. Maybe by SummerSlam or something, he may overtake Randy and be the heel, the mid-card heel who's making good, a la JBL. The shenanigans with the Sami Zayn match, you knew the Bollywood book. The Singh brothers were going to interfere, and you knew Zayn was going to be the newest kind of jobber, mid-card jobber for now. He's kind of going through that losing streak again. So hopefully he'll be able to recover and they'll find a decent feud for him on SmackDown. Speaking of jobbers, Ty Dillinger, not the jobber, took on Aiden English, jobber, beat him in a minute. Then you had a backstage segment where the welcoming committee of Natalya, Carmella, and Tamina were trying to recruit Becky Lynch, because Becky Lynch is, they were pushing the whole Becky Lynch being pushed to the back because Charlotte showed up and immediately gets title shots and all that. It was a neat idea. It's actually being executed well. I wish they would have come up with a better name, but maybe they will. Maybe they'll fix that a little bit. Then you had the tag match between Carmella and Natalya versus Charlotte and Naomi. They attacked the welcoming committee right before the match, attacked Charlotte, so it was basically 2-on-1, 3-on-1 really, with Tamina, 4-on-1, well, 3.5-on-1 because Ellsworth was there. And Charlotte came down to the ring about halfway through the match, limping and hurting, so, looking like a fighter and all that, but they still ended up losing. Carmella gets the pin on Naomi, which I thought was interesting. And then Becky Lynch came out after the welcoming committee was continuing their beatdown and looked like she was going to join, and then didn't because she got to Ellsworth and then, basically took him out. And she got beat up for it. So now you've got the 3 faces and 3 heels going on. It was nice because there was a moment there where you thought Becky Lynch was turning heel, and she didn't. I don't think Becky Lynch... I'm not saying I don't think Becky Lynch should turn heel anytime soon, necessarily, but right now isn't the time. Then you had Dolph Ziggler versus Sin Cara, or as I called him last night, the Blue Jobber Bomb. He beat Sin Cara, super kick. No Shinsuke or anything like that. It's just basically setting up. It's trying to get Ziggler some momentum. Side note, backstage segment with the Fashion Police. Those guys are funny. I don't know how long this gimmick is going to be able to go, but they're actually legit funny guys. So hopefully they'll be able to keep this entertaining. Because Tyler Breeze and Fandango are both really good in the ring. So I would actually like to see better things for them. Meh. Then you had the championship rematch between Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho. They did a lot of callbacks to pretty much all of their matches, they've been good matches, but they haven't been great matches. And I was hoping this one would be a great match. This is probably the closest they've gotten to great. But it still was a little, So the outcome was nice. The beatdown afterwards was great. You had Kevin Owens regaining his championship, being able to get to the rope so he didn't have to worry about that whole finger thing, which was a neat touch at the pay-per-view, and they kind of, called back to it, but they didn't dwell on it too much. He gets out of the walls of Jericho a couple times, and the DDT on the ramp that started the downward spiral for Jericho's a nice touch, because while it's a heelish thing to do, and it's technically against the rules, it's not Kevin Owens cheating to regain its title. He beat him clean, pop-up powerbomb, 1, 2, 3, no super shenanigans. He just did something kind of dirty, but it wasn't a rake of the eyes or a thumb to the nose or anything like that. It was a, nice showing that Kevin Owens is smart and dangerous and can beat anybody. And that's the version of Owens that was so great when he first came up against John Cena. That was a version of Owens that was great during his NXT run, and that's the version of Owens we need now. The beatdown afterwards was great because it was a great way to write off Jericho while he goes on tour with Fozzy, and it really progressed Owens' character. So there's my quick recap of both shows. Hopefully it didn't run on too long. So overall, I think this was a better week of television than the last couple of weeks, especially the build-up to Payback was not particularly brilliant on Raw, but now that we've gotten past all the silliness of the House of Horrors and all that stuff, we can move on. I'm looking forward to the Balor Bray stuff, looking forward to Owen Styles, looking forward to Nakamura, Ziggler, and looking forward to some more Samoa Joe and Seth Rollins. Plus, it would be interesting to see what direction they go with the ladies. Just real quick before I sign off, just want a couple of shout-outs. One, to the wife of Doom. Happy anniversary. And a shout-out to Uppercut, who is an unofficial member of the Board of Doom. More like a special guest. He gave us a shout-out on his Millersville University radio show over the weekend, so thank you very much. Appreciate that. I would put his Twitter handle up there if he wants, but I'm going to wait to get permission to do that. So otherwise, Thank you. I've been Big Papa Grump from the Board of Doom. See you next time.